It's like 8:30 right now and I am very tired, but I have to record my thoughts because right now they're very fresh. Where do I begin? So I wanted to vlog things as they were happening, but today was filled with a lot of surprises and I was really nervous and I had no idea what was going to be happening for the whole day. So I tried to record a little clips, but I was too nervous to record anything. Before we left, we did have a few of the coordinators that kind of spoke with us over the orientation come on the bus and real quick and just say goodbye. They told us to not be nervous, but they told us it's understandable that you are nervous and that it's going to be great. Be flexible, be open-minded, you'll find a way to have a good time. And you're probably wondering, why are people so nervous? Well, the reason why people are very nervous is because we don't know anything. Like, we don't know anything. Well, okay, we know a few things. Yesterday we signed our contracts and we got a piece of paper that said our address and our school, our main school that we're going to be teaching at, and our main handler, which really is like our co-teacher. So I saw the name of my main handler and then also the address of my apartment and school. So I looked that up on Google and everything, try to get an idea of where it was. But for some people, they didn't have their apartment address yet, because for people in Gyeonggi and Seoul province, our schools start a little bit later, but people in other provinces start like now. So like the orientation can only be a set number of like days. So like so there's some people that after this orientation they're staying in a hotel for a couple of days because the teacher that they're replacing hasn't finished their contract yet. And so they have to wait until the teacher finishes up their contract, which will be over in a few days, and then they'll be able to live in the place that they live. So it's really complicated. Like, it really depends on the particular school and everything. Like, you really got to be a certain person to be able to withstand all this. I am proud to say that I am a person that is able to withstand all of this, but boy, even for me, I was super nervous today, which I will get into more detail. You're probably also wondering, why are you talking in this particular tone? Well, that's because I am not sure how sensitive these walls are, so I'm trying to talk as quietly and calmly as I can, but I'll give more details into the apartment as well later too. So yeah, so today I left early in the morning on the bus with everyone, not knowing what I was getting myself into. I assumed that since I wasn't going to a hotel because I had my apartment address on my piece of paper, that I would just, you know, we would ride the bus and then I would get to the Office of Education, which was like the meeting area for all of the teachers to meet their co-teachers and stuff like that. I imagine my co-teacher would pick me up and then just take me to my apartment, right? Well, not exactly the case. So basically, we ride the bus, which is, it's a 3-hour, well, it was like a 2-hour bus ride from our orientation site to the Gyeonggi Office of Education North Division. When the bus pulled into the Office of Education, all of our suitcases were lined up outside, and there was several people standing there. At first I thought those were all of our different co-teachers, but they were actually drivers. So I thought, oh my gosh, maybe one of these people is my co-teacher, but no, they were just a driver for the other people, because basically some people had their co-teacher pick them up. Again, still don't know what the plan is, but I sit there and wait on the bus. I was the last person, so I was a little scared. I look out of the bus and I don't see my luggage. I don't see my luggage. But I just felt like in that moment, I felt like the dog in the room with the fire burning around them. This is fine. I started to get a little worried because, you know, it's my luggage, but that's why I packed an extra outfit in my backpack. I just kind of sat there, and then, well, at this point when I didn't see my luggage outside, I wasn't the last person. There's two other people. So I told the two other girls that were waiting for their teacher, waiting for their co-teacher, or waiting for their transportation, hey, I don't see my luggage outside. So then one of the girls talked to the coordinator that said that I didn't see my luggage. So the coordinator asked me to step outside. And my luggage was right there. The windows of the bus were tinted orange. So outside I saw a purple suitcase and like a dark, like a suitcase that was like maroon, like dark red. My suitcase is blue and black. So with the orange tinted window, it made this blue suitcase look purple and the black suitcase look kind of maroon, or I don't know what it looked like, but it didn't look like my color suitcase. So I go out there and I'm like, oh, actually my suitcase is right there. So that bundle of nerves went away. Eventually I was the last person, so the coordinator just asked me to stand outside. And then eventually I do see a van pull up, like a white van. So I was thinking this was my co-teacher, but it's not. It's just a person that's an assistant at the school. So I get onto the van, and he's really kind. He took my luggage and put it up there. He's an older man, you know, like old enough to be my dad or something. And then he took my backpack and put that in the back seat as well. And then I got in there in the front passenger seat and we drove. And English was very limited, but he was really trying hard to communicate with me. It was really nice. He was really trying hard to just like ask me questions about where I'm from, tried to tell me things about Korea. The car ride was about 40 minutes. So he used Papago to kind of communicate with me. He told me about how it's compulsory that you have to do military service if you're a male in Korea. And he asked me about where things about in Florida, and he also asked me things like, is the US dangerous and stuff like that. I told him about guns and he said in Korea there's no guns. Very simple conversation, but it was very nice. So everything's kind of going fine with that. He told me he was able to communicate with me that the arrival time of getting to the apartment, because apparently he was going to take me to my apartment first and then take me to the school, which then got me very nervous because I was like, oh, I had no idea I was going to be actually going to the school today, and I wasn't sure if I needed to prepare a presentation. I didn't know if I had to jump into a class or not. I didn't know how to formally introduce myself in Korean to people, because that was something I did learn, but I didn't rehearse it enough to be able to do it confidently. I got scared, but I just sat there and looked out at the scenery, all the mountains and everything, and trying to talk to the nice staff guy driving me. So I was so nervous. Oh my god, I had no idea what was gonna happen. But before anything, I had to drop off my stuff at the apartment. That's what he said, so that's what we did. Now, things seem to be communicated like pretty successfully, but I think we did get a bit lost in translation. He asked me something about food, and I responded like, I thought he asked me if I like Korean food, so I told him I really like bibimbap, because who doesn't, you know? It's a great dish. But then I think he responded a little confused. So then I thought that maybe when he asked me favorite food, I thought and he was asking me what's a favorite food in Florida, like, so I told him like steak, like hamburgers, pizza, like it's America, so I said that stuff, and I think he misunderstood me and I didn't understand him. We didn't understand each other, and I think that when I said that, he thought that I don't like Korean food and that I only like steak, hamburgers, and pizza. He bought me a burger set because he asked me if I was hungry. And on the way there, he was on the phone talking a lot, and I heard him say like hamburger a lot. So I was like so confused. I thought that maybe the school lunch is hamburger, because I thought that I would eat at the school with the teachers. But I didn't know. I didn't even know I would be going to the school at all. But when he mentioned that I would be going to the school after the apartment, dropping off my stuff, I thought that would mean, okay, maybe I'm gonna eat lunch with the teachers. So he bought me a hamburger. Well, what he did was he parked the car, went in there, placed the order, and said, he came back and said it'll take 10 minutes. So then we drove a little bit more and then got to my apartment finally. Got to the apartment. I didn't know how any of that was gonna work. Basically, he got out, I got out, I got my stuff, and then the landlord guys, or like the guys working at the apartment, they just started grabbing my suitcases and going upstairs. And yes, stairs. There is no elevator here, I guess, because we had to carry all my stuff 3 flights of stairs. And these guys just carried the suitcase. I was like, oh my gosh, I feel so bad. I hope you guys don't hurt yourselves because these suitcases are heavy. And they did it, so great. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. I am so sorry that my bags are so heavy, but thank you. So we got up to the 3rd floor and the apartment door was already open. I look inside and there's still stuff in here. Like there's like furniture and everything, but it looks like someone was still living here. And I saw suitcases like already by the door, and I was like, wait, what? Like, am I supposed to be in here? Like, why is this person's stuff is still in here? Like, I'm so confused. But everything was very, very fast. So, okay, drop my stuff off, and then I get back into the van with the man, and we go pick up the burger. And then he tells me, he gives me the receipt, all in Korean except for the numbers and the Lateria logo. And he's like, okay, you pick up. And I was like, he was like, mission. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, okay. So he parks the car on the side of the road. He says something like, pick up. And I was like, okay. So I walk into the Lateria with the receipt. The cash register lady is reading off a bunch of numbers. I think it's maybe people that's sitting there order, you know when people read up order number 59, and then the person that's sitting there that's order number 59 gets up to pick it up. So she was doing that, and I was like, what am I doing? But then she was done. I walked up to there and I just said, pick up. And then she said, oh, okay, and then like gave me the thing. So super simple, mission accomplished. So I come back, and then he said, oh, success. And I was like, yeah. So I got my burger, and I thought that he ordered something for himself, but he just ordered something for me. And I was like, thank you. I felt kind of embarrassed. Like, I don't know. He didn't have to do that for me. Like, man, that was so nice. He bought me a hamburger. Really great, and honestly it was not that bad. He told me that Burger King is way better, but there is no Burger King, so we have to settle for Lateria. Anyways, so then he told me that we're gonna, from what I understood, he suggested that I go ahead and eat now because we'll be arriving at the school in like 10 minutes. So I was like, okay, I'll do that. So I started eating my burger and french fries and cola. I couldn't tell if it was like Coca-Cola or Dr. Pepper, but it tasted good. So I had my burger and fries and my cola, and I was eating it and drinking it. You know, the Lateria burger's got a lot of sauce. It was a little messy, but I was able to keep myself composed. And I thought that I needed to finish the whole burger meal before getting to school, because I didn't want to eat the burger. I don't know, I didn't want to eat the burger like with the teachers, because I thought that, I don't know what I was thinking. So I ate the whole thing like in 10 minutes. It wasn't really that big, and then I had like a few fries left, and then he told me to take that with me to eat with the teachers because they're having lunch. And so I was like, oh, was I supposed to eat this? What? I'm so confused. Okay, it's fine. So I wanted to throw away the bag, like the trash of the burger and the fries, like wrapping and stuff, but I asked him if there's a trash, but he didn't really understand me, and I didn't see any trash cans either. My cola, I barely drank. I had like 3 sips of it, but I'm carrying this bag of like burger trash and then like my soda with me, and he takes me up to school because there's like a few steps, well, quite a lot, not a lot, but we gotta walk up some steps to get to the school entrance. And I get to the school entrance, he's walking super fast. I was thinking, oh my god, like, do I take off my shoes and exchange them to indoor slippers? I don't know, but I just followed him, and yeah, I wore my whole boots indoors. And if you don't know, in Korea, you change your shoes into like indoor slippers that you wear inside the school. Helps keep everything clean and whatnot. And I didn't know. So I walk in there, I'm following him, I don't know what's happening. Takes me to the administrative office, and that's where all the teachers are sitting eating lunch. And guess what they're eating? They're eating bibimbap. Yes, yes. So I go in there, and of course they're all eating, and they're like, oh, there she is. Like he entered, and I think they were asking like, where's the teacher? Which, by the way, the term that I didn't expect to be used here is native teacher. They call me native teacher because at the airport they asked me like, are you a native teacher? And I was like, I'm an English teacher. I thought they meant like native Korean teacher. I don't know, but I was like, no, English teacher. So then I go in there, and I did not know that I would be meeting them, all the teachers. So I did dress up nice. Like I had this is a thermal, this is like a thermal long sleeve, but I had like a button-up shirt and this sweater on top, and then like my black kind of puffy-ish jacket and these pants. So I didn't look bad, but I just felt so, what? Okay, I really wanted to introduce myself properly with Korean, but I didn't know that I'd be meeting them today, so I just said hello, and I gave like a bow, and that was it. So I meet my co-teacher, and he says, hi, I'll be in charge of you. And he's not old, he's like, looks young. I thought he would be like very kind of fatherly, almost grandfatherly in a way, but he was like kind of young, so that's another surprise. I'm there with like my cola and my bag of burger trash, like, and the staff guy, he keeps saying like something like potato. Like I keep hearing him say potatoes. He's like referring to my french fries, like she still has to finish her french fries, so let her sit there and finish it. So I sat there and I didn't finish it because I already finished it. So I sit there and I tell them I already ate it in the car because I thought that I had to finish it before I got to the school. I'm not sure if they understood me, but that's what I told them. And so the teacher that could speak a little bit more English was making coffee, and so she asked me if I wanted some. And the staff guy that drove me said, oh, she still has her drink to finish. Like he's like really trying to help me out, I think. But I said, it's okay, I want the coffee. I didn't really want the coffee. I just felt, I don't even know what I was thinking, but I did get the coffee, even though I really didn't want it. But I don't know. I said yes. I couldn't think in the moment. I think the other teachers were saying, oh, there's maybe some cream. Maybe she wants cream or sugar. And so then the teacher that gave me the coffee asked me, is it okay? Do you want anything else? I'm like, no, it's good. And I drink the whole thing. I mean, I love black coffee and I love sweet coffee. I love all coffee. Coffee is amazing. My co-teacher is like finishing eating. All the rest of the teachers that were eating when I walked in packed everything up and left. Or didn't leave, but like they packed everything up and like, well, they left the table. And so I'm kind of standing there awkwardly. Not standing, I'm kind of sitting there awkwardly. So I go and ask, can I use the bathroom, the restroom, the toilet? You know, I said all three because I wasn't sure which one would work. And they're, oh, okay. So they let me go down the hall and I go into the bathroom. And this school is so cute. It's a nice school. They make it look so child friendly. It's an elementary school. Like there's so much like decorations and stuff that makes it look so cute. So I was like, I love the vibe here. So I go into the bathroom and I'm just like, oh my god, I'm here. So I'm like, I go and message my friends, and my battery's at 30%. And I'm like, why is it at 30%? It was at 98 when I left the hotel, and I didn't use my phone really all that much at all on the bus. If anything, it should have gone down by like 10%, not like 60%. So I'm like, okay, please phone, do not die, because if it went down this much between the time that we took to get here, I don't know how long I'm going to be at this school. I don't know what's going to happen, so let me just pray that it's okay. So I stay in there, you know, collect myself. I take off my mask, try to make sure that I look okay, and then I put my mask back on and I go back into the teacher's room, teacher's kind of lunch break room. So I go in there, and the teacher that can speak a little bit more English says she wants to talk to me about my school schedule. So I go with her, and I'm like, okay, good. I have something I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go and get my school schedule. Okay, great. So we go, we walk up some stairs, and another teacher follows. I don't remember what she was. I know I met the vice principal. I don't remember because it happened all so fast. I don't remember. She was probably really important, and I can't remember what position she held in the school. I can't remember. I couldn't really. She gave me like a table, a chart. It's all in Korean. But there are numbers, and it's not hard to figure out. It's not hard to figure out. But she basically explained that the school has after school clubs, and they wanted to know if I was okay with teaching English after school club. Now, even though she did ask, is it okay? I feel like if I said no, that would make me look bad. So I said yes. But essentially, I need to do after school clubs to kind of make up for a full 8-hour work day. People already told me in orientation, Epic, anyone that does this, like, that's a thing that you do. You do after school clubs, and it's not even every day after school. So back to me talking to them. So yeah, I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll do it. And they were really thankful for me doing that. So cool, yay. And then she mentioned to me, so on these 2 days, you'll be at the other school. And I was like, oh, I'll be at another school? She's like, yes, you'll have 2 schools. And I'm like, oh, they didn't tell me that. Will I get a paper on it? And she said, I don't remember what she said. I don't even think that's what I said. But I said something like, I didn't see that on the paper. But I didn't try to really like say too much in that moment, because I didn't want them to think that I was trying to argue that why would I teach 2 schools when I only have 1 on the piece of paper? You know, I didn't want it to make it seem like that, because most of the time you do get multiple schools, and I was surprised that I only got 1 school on that piece of paper that had my address, school address, and main handler name on it. So I said, okay, so I have 2 schools. Okay. And then she told me the name of the school, and then the day that I would be going to that other school, which is Monday and Friday. So I will be at this school that I saw today, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So as you can see, you know, didn't know that I would be doing, well, I had a feeling I would do after school clubs, but I just didn't know it for sure until today. Didn't know I would have a second school until today. Didn't know a lot of these things. Gosh, thinking about it is a little bit making me nervous. Like, oh my gosh, how do I plan a club? Like, oh. But anyways, so I don't know what I'm doing, but I'll figure it out. He tells me that, and then I go back to the main teacher staff room, and then my co-teacher guy, he takes me up to, well, I get a mini tour of the school. The school's is not really that big. He takes me up to like the English classroom. The English classroom isn't really, well, it's not really an English classroom. It's like an English after school club classroom, but they're not using that because of COVID. Like, I don't know, but we're not going to be in there. But he took me in there because that's where all the English textbooks are, and there's a computer. So he basically said, okay, so at the time it was around like 1:30. He said, I'll be able to take you to your apartment at 3 o'clock. I have to finish up some things here. And I was like, okay. So he said, go take a rest in the classroom. So I was like, okay, I'll take a rest. So I went inside there, and I sat in that classroom for an hour and a half. And it was a good time to sit and collect myself. And I was like, oh gosh, what did I get myself into? I'm so confused, because I don't know if my co-teacher is gonna be teaching the class like with me, because I always thought that it would be really like 50-50, but it really depends on the school and the co-teacher. I think he's, from what I understood, I think he is also new to the school as well. And the class size is not big. It's like 10 kids per class. Like, I went into the class and there was not a lot of desks. They're not doing online learning. They did use Zoom for a bit, but now they're back to in-person because the classes aren't big. They're very small, so they can socially distance and everything. But like being all by myself in front of the class, I don't know how I can guide it, because the co-teacher, he came back and he gave me some textbooks. And he showed me the English textbook so I could look through that and be familiar with it while he finished up what he was doing before 3 o'clock. I'm looking at the English textbooks and the instructions are like in Korean. Like, This textbook was designed for a Korean person to teach English to kids that are Korean. And like the parts that are in English are just like the dialogue parts. But he told me that I wouldn't start teaching until the week after after the first week that I'm there. So hopefully I'm getting some training. I don't know. But one thing I know for sure is I love the vibe. I love the vibe of the school. As I was sitting there in the hour and a half in the classroom, just kind of looking through the textbooks, thinking about life, I was thinking that, you know what, like, I like the feeling that I have here. Because I started to try to become more intuitive, and like if I can tell something's wrong, like I can feel it, and it usually ends up, you know, turning out wrong. But I did not have that feeling at all. When I got to the school, yes, I was nervous because I didn't know what I was doing, but you know, once I walked around and started feeling everyone's like vibes and energy, I was like, you know what, this place is cool. I'm gonna like it. I'm feeling good about this. I started also scrolling through Reddit, r/teaching in Korea, and I did read about some people that lived in this area as well, and a lot of them were saying that it's close to Seoul, which is great, but then people that also lived here said that it's just so rural, you need a car to get around, and I was getting all nervous and everything. But I decided, well, let's just see how things play out. Hour and a half passed by, you know, and then I hear a knock on the door, and it's my co-teacher guy, who I don't know will actually be my teacher in the classroom, but I'm gonna call him co-teacher to make things simple. So he's there, he says, all right, so let's go. So we go there, and then we stop by the staff room because he has to drop off something or whatever, I don't know. And then he says bye to the teacher. I wave, and I do my bow, you know. I don't remember who that was that I saw, but I feel like she was the vice principal. It was all a blur. We go in his car. As we get out, well, before we get into the car, he points at a yellow bus and he says, that's your school bus. And I was like, oh, I ride the school bus? And he says, yeah, it picks up native teacher. And I was like, oh, so apparently, which I'll go into more detail on that later, I ride the same school bus that picks up the kids. And there is a school bus that picks up the kids. So he told me there's a bus stop by my apartment and it picks up the native teacher. And oh, I forgot to mention something. While I was sitting in the classroom for an hour and a half, one of the teachers came in and she asked me to take a picture of me. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, I feel like my face is so oily right now. I've been wearing a mask all day, but she told me to take off the mask. So I took off the mask, and thank goodness I have my lipstick still, well, my lip tint still, you know, visible. It's really faded right now and all this patchy, but at the time I think it didn't look bad. So I sat there and I smiled, and I think it looked okay. I don't know, but it's done. So she took a picture of me. Don't know where that picture is gonna go, but hopefully they think that I look good. So anyways, back to that. So he tells me that I ride a school bus. I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool. And he tells me the time that it picks me up, but he doesn't give me like any paperwork or anything. So I'm just like, okay, I just have to remember this then. So we get in the car, he drives me back to my apartment, and it's like a 10-minute drive. It's around that time. And he asked me like, what do I like to do? He asked me how old I am. And just so you know, like in America, it's kind of awkward if someone asks you how old you are, especially if it's like a man, like asking like a woman how old you are. But in Korea, everyone asks how old you are, apparently, because it's just so you know how to address them. Of course, I haven't really experienced this myself socializing in this country, but that's what I learned at orientation. Tell him my age, he tells me his age, cool. He asked me what my hobbies are, so I don't lie. I tell him that I like YouTube and I like to dance. And he's like, oh, you like to dance? Me too. And I was like, oh, whoa, cool. And you know what? I don't hold back. I tell him I like to dance K-pop. He's like, oh, wow. He asked me, do you like BTS? And I said, yeah. He's like, of course. And then I like, of course, like, duh, BTS is worldwide, so of course you know them. And then I say, I like Twice. He's like, wow, Twice? So lovely. And I was like, yes, Twice. And then he drops me off at the apartment. No, he actually doesn't drop me off. He parks in the apartment. He says he's gonna help me get my code. So he goes with me into the landlord's office, and then the landlord goes up with us. And then they open the door, and I don't see the luggage or anything else of the previous person in here. So I guess that person was able to clear. It's like, okay, so this is now my place. The teacher was translating for me, and basically the landlord person, he reset the code for the door, and then he told me to create a custom 4-digit code for the door as like a pin. So I created that, like I just punched it in, and that's how I get in and out of my room. I do not have a key. And then the co-teacher, he asked for me a copy of my contract, which I give him, and then we also got this envelope that talked about like the results of our medical exam that we had to do during orientation, so I gave that to him as well. So I asked him for his cacao because I need to have a contact of someone from the school. So we exchanged, and then he said, bye, see you Tuesday, and I was like, okay, bye. And then I was in this room. So then I looked around and I saw a note left on the table. And the note was basically left by the person that was just living in here. The teacher that lived in here is a teacher that I'm replacing. She lived here for 5 years. 5 years. She left her cacao information, so I messaged her and I started talking with her. And that's when she told me she lived here for 5 years. And she left a lot of great things here. Like, first of all, well, we'll do an apartment tour later at some point, but she left me furniture. I have a big bed. She left like a vacuum cleaner, a blender, pots and pans, like cups, glasses, like extra toilet paper in the packaging. I'm so lucky. Like, this is so good. The one thing though that I'm not quite sure of is the noise level. Every time I step, I feel like I'm really loud. Like, I feel like I can hear my feet walking. Like, I don't know how to describe it, but I feel like I can hear myself. So I'm just gonna have to wait it out to see like how sensitive it is here, because when I was walking in the hallway, like I could hear people talking like in their room, but I don't hear anyone talking right now. I did hear people like going up and down the stairs, down the hallway, vacuuming. Like, I heard that. So I'm just not sure. I really don't want to give people noise complaints, but as my one friend was telling me that lives in Korea right now, she said, hey, if people don't complain, they don't complain. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. That is everything that happened to me today. I thought that going to orientation, they would give you like a schedule, like, okay, well, they did give us a schedule, but not for after orientation, because essentially after orientation, you're kind of in the hands of your school. So I was thinking before everything that, like, you know, they would give me a schedule, like, okay, bus pickup at this time, tour school, go apartment, this, that. None of that. It was just get picked up. I didn't even know the time, actually. And I don't think it's them being careless. I think it's just because with the program, there's a lot of things involved. There's the program itself that coordinates with the Office of Education for the different provinces, and then the individual schools are involved too. So it's all these different like points that need to be coordinated amongst one another, and like it's complicated. It's complicated. It is what it is. Do I wish it could be a little bit more informative with us knowing where we're gonna be? Yes. But I think it's this way for a reason. Like, I've been living in the moment ever since I got out of quarantine. Even in quarantine, I was living in the moment because everything just felt so new. And it's a great feeling. It's a great feeling. Being present is so cool. And the way that you can be present is by putting yourself in situations you never experienced before that aren't unhealthy. So this is, everything here is a totally new experience, but this is my life now. I am the elementary school educator for the youth. So this is my very unique experience living in Korea. So I hope you'll stick around and stay for the ride, because I sure as heck don't know what's ahead, but if you stick around, you'll find out along with me. I'm gonna end this now. Thanks so much for watching, and please click the bell for notifications because I will upload kind of randomly. And if you don't want to miss my uploads, click that bell and subscribe if you have not already. That's that spiel. Thanks so much for watching, and you'll see me in the next video of mine you decide to click on.